Great to see you here, to sense everybody gathering, and for this conversation about life in general, the spiritual life, the questions that matter. It'd be great to see you, to see where you come from. So do type it in. But also, I'd love you to tell me how you're feeling. Down in the south of England, it's very gloomy and grey. Really gloomy, and this thing, sad seasonal affective disorder, that makes you feel very grey and gloomy. Well, if you suffer from sad, you're certainly going to be suffering now. Maybe you'd like to tell me if you're feeling gloomy because of the weather, if it's weighing you down. If you're in the southern hemisphere, if you're in New Zealand or Calgary, sunny Calgary, or anywhere where it's great, I have no sympathy for you. My sympathy is on the side of those people who are under grey skies and who are feeling gloomy and miserable. So nobody's sad. Somebody's in New Zealand where it's going to be 33 degrees. Oh, I'm so jealous and cross. And Alabama too. It can't be grey there, can it? Happy and feeling alive. Raining Essex. Nobody's feeling sad. What a shame. Oh, what a pity. But Floriana is suffering from a lack of vitamin D. Yes. They say that a lot of us need to take vitamin D at this time of year. It's really important. Well, you remember in the last conversation, I invited suggestions for what we could discuss, because I see these times together as times where we can talk about anything we like, really, but important things, interesting things, things that are perhaps different from the kind of material that we get when we turn on the television. Today, I had one of those days where everything went wrong. My computer of 9 years old started to die, and this is why you see a different background here. I've had to move into the OBOD office to do this broadcast using one of the machines in the office, and so maybe that's why the weather outside is reflecting something that's going on here as well. But yes, so a lot of very interesting questions came up and ideas for conversation came up. And I'd like to choose just one. They were all great. But I'd like to choose just one from Guy, or perhaps Guy, in Switzerland. Guy means mistletoe, actually. And I know certainly in France, if your name is spelt G-U-Y, you pronounce it Guy. So he says, thank you very much for your interesting Tea with Philip talk today. It's a lovely feeling, all of us in the same grove together. For a next tea or cup of mead, I'd love to hear your ideas about this short talk from Alan Watts, Why Your Life is Not a Journey. It's a very short talk of just 3 minutes or so, but it's so fundamental. This really has changed my life. He tells us beautifully why our bardic gifts can't be honored highly enough, encouraging us to dance and sing instead of chasing a non-existent goal in life. So it's a great video. I'll put it up on my blog and on the Facebook pages as well, so you can watch it. It's beautifully made, and it's fantastic. And so let's talk about that. It's such a key question. It gets straight to the heart of things. And basically what Alan Watts is saying is this. He says, we've been thinking about life in the wrong way. We've been thinking about life as a journey, when in fact we should think about it as a piece of music or a dance. When you play music or listen to music, you're not thinking about the end. You're not going anywhere. When you dance, you're not heading towards a particular spot in the room. You're just dancing. You're in the moment. And of course, that makes me feel of the wonderful Sufi dancing, where they whirl and whirl, just being in the moment. And so, and then of course he points to the way in which the idea of life as a journey traps us, so that as we're a kid, he suggests that education is like putting a child at the end of a corridor and then laying breadcrumbs down the corridor, saying, come on, keep going down this corridor till you get to the end of school. And then when you get out of the building and you're a young person, you go to college and university and training, And then you get a job, and he gives the example, you start selling insurance, and then you have goals. You've got to sell so many insurance policies until you're about 40, and you think, hooray, I've got there. But you're not happy, of course. So, so he encourages us to embrace the dance and to drop the idea that we're going anywhere. And this is what I feel about it. I'd be really interested to hear what you feel about it. You have a look at the video afterwards. I'll pop it up. And my reaction is this: I love it. It immediately gives me a feeling of freedom, of liberation. I let go of all that goal orientation and striving and trying to get somewhere. And I bask in the now, Eckhart Tolle's great thing, basking in the moment and all the rest of it. And yet, and here's the rub. If you look at the comments under the Alan Watts YouTube video, lots of people are saying, oh, this is fabulous, you've got the truth, this is all a crazy kind of game that we play of trying to get somewhere. But how do I earn a living? And this is the point. I think you've got to see the context in which Alan Watts speaks. He's a guy who took psychedelics, smoked pot, and was a great leading light in the counterculture. And when you take psychedelics and you smoke pot, it's one of the prime sensations is letting go of this horrible treadmill that we're forced onto as children, just driving us forward. We let go of that, and suddenly we bask in a sense of joy and connection with each other and with the universe that's outside of time. It's a deep truth, I think, and a very profound experience. It's the experience that meditation is designed to lead us to as well. But, like everything, there is another side to the picture. And it's equally true, I think, that the reason why we use the term of life being a journey, the image of life being a journey, is because it resonates deeply in our psyche. There's something archetypal in it. The quest, think of the quest. So there is a way in which I believe life is a journey, but it's also not a journey. It's a question of having goals, not a journey to sell insurance policies, not a journey to achieve material gold, but a journey to achieve alchemical gold, if you like. And we need, for those of us who maybe discovered that life, we got off the treadmill and we sat around smoking pot or taking psychedelics or whatever, there's a moment when you realize that you couldn't spend the whole of your life leaning up against a wall listening to music, that actually you wanted to get out and do something. And so it seems to me that the most sensible way of approaching this is to, on the one hand, stop and smell the flowers, as Jesse Shaw has said, really let go, be in the moment, open to the power of now. Let go of all those things that drive you towards what is called in analytical psychology is called the provisional life. This is a huge thing, I think. The provisional life is the dictate that says to you, look, you'll be happy, you'll be fulfilled when ... And then you fill it in. So it might be when you retire, when you get married, when you find the love of your life, when you get divorced, when you get shot of that person who's driving you nuts, when you have that great new job, when you leave this terrible job, when you go to live in the country, when you go to live, whatever it is, there's always something. And I don't know whether you've noticed this, that there are goals you set in your life. Say writing a book is one. Anybody who's a writer knows this. You pour your heart and soul for a long time. I mean, the novel I wrote, The Prophecies, it took me 5 years. He spent 5 years straining and straining. and you tell yourself it's all going to be great when I finished, when the book's published, then I can relax. Then my life can be wonderful and I can feel fulfilled and I will have achieved something and I will have blah, 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 and all the rest of it. And of course, it is great. It is fabulous when you finish. Hurrah, and the baby comes out and you see the book and there it is. And some people like it, so you think great and all the rest of it. But how long does it last? There's only a certain amount of time you can bask in the glory or sit on your laurels or enjoy the now. There's also the power of then and the power of the future as well. You know, this is why I think I'd love to write a book called The Power of Then, to kind of rival the power of now. Because basking in memory, the past, and working with the future in a magical way is hugely valuable as well. Xavier Bell says, balance, balance, balance. Exactly. Yin and yang. Life is a journey. Life isn't a journey. Even if you imagine you're writing music, you say, you know, Alan Watts says with such confidence, you see, one of the things, this is one of the problems I have with gurus in a way, is they say things with such confidence. And of course, when you say something, you make a unilateral declaration. It's more powerful and you get a kind of greater hit of enthusiasm for it. If I say, well, it is and it isn't, it's this and it's that. Yes, life is a journey, but no, also you must bathe in the moment and let go of the idea of the journey. It's less powerful. But I think this middle way of balance, of inclusion, of understanding the paradoxes in life is the way to go, certainly for me. I'm looking at your comments now, and spirituality allowing us to embrace contradictions and different ideas when reflecting on something, says Mike. That's exactly it, I think. We so long for certainty. We love, again, the problem with gurus. You know, we so long for certainty, don't we? Life is so uncertain. We can pop off at any minute, walk under a bus. Mr. Trump can decide to press a button. There's all sorts of ways in which our lives are filled with uncertainty. So when somebody comes along and is confident and certain about something, it's such a relief. Of course, it goes back to the days of when we were children. This is one of the roles of a parent. It's a parental prerogative and ability to calm a child by making clear boundaries and saying, no, don't do that, do this. And we need that as children to grow up. But when we become adults, we don't need it so much. And that longing for certainty actually becomes a trap, which is what I think you see in fundamentalist religion and in people who make categorical statements that this is the way it is. It always seems to me one needs to say something like, well, this is the way it seems to be to me right now, but I also understand that in a different context, it may be completely the opposite. This is my cup of tea, says Marjolein in Holland. So truth is less compelling than absolutes. Absolutely, Jesse. That's absolutely it. It's you know. So this kind of philosophy, I think, this approach to life that I embrace, and I think Druidry embraces, and that I think is what more and more people in this whole movement of, you know, spiritual but not religious, SBNR, which is this movement around the world, or not, it's not even a movement, it's just people's beliefs, really, spiritual but not religious. They feel that they don't want the rigid containment of religion, even the certainty of religion. Feel that they've perhaps grown up or have grown beyond needing to have that fatherly, parental certainty, and instead wanting to step out into the great mystery of life, to still be reverent, to still be even religious in a broader sense, to still be spiritual, but to be open to contradiction, to paradox, to uncertainty. And it's in that place of uncertainty that I think creativity flows, and that we are blessed with something far more liberating in the end than certainty. And Jay is saying the joy is in the journey. And I think that's something that I was thinking about as well, in terms of, if you think about the journey, a pilgrimage is a really good analogy. There's the last episode of Druidcast that came out a few days ago, which is one of the best Druidcast episodes ever. If you haven't heard it, do give it a try. I put it up on my blog today. It's talking about this theme of pilgrimage. It starts with a beautiful Scottish song about the Selkie, and then two guys, Guy and Will, talk about pilgrimage, and it's the most amazing presentation of the depth, what pilgrimage means in all sorts of ways, both practically and on the ground and at a spiritual and archetypal level. It's fantastic. And if I think about this paradox, or these two ideas, life is not a journey and it is a journey, funnily enough, the best kind of analogy I can get is pilgrimage, in the sense of, when you take a pilgrimage, on the one hand you have a goal, and it is of course a journey, and it is linear in the sense of, even if you wind around, you are heading towards a goal, the holy place, the goal of your pilgrimage. So it is a journey. But on the other hand, as somebody mentioned just there, the point of it, the pleasure of it, and the enlightenment that might be gained from it also comes from taking the path itself, not in just achieving the goal, but the whole process along the way. And part of that process, an integral part of that process, is not journeying, is stopping. You imagine now, that you stop on the journey and you just open to the beauty. Let's do that now with a little mini meditation of just a few moments. A lot of us have been living under grey skies, so we need the vitamin D, we need some sunshine. So let's imagine now that all of us, all over the world, because I know that there are hundreds of people from all over the world watching this, which is great. And let's imagine now, but in this virtual world, or the astral world, or the world of the imagination, we're all together in the sacred grove. We've all come to gather for this meeting. And let's just imagine now, and you might want to close your eyes to do this, but you don't have to, that you're taking a journey out from the grove on a path through the forest that climbs up towards the summit of a hill. And so you walk, and the forest is quite dark, but you can just see the way, and the path is soft underfoot. And gradually the trees drop away, and you come up to this hillside, and you find a nice smooth rock to sit on, and you're facing east. And as you sit on the rock, you connect with the earth, you sense, you can almost hear or feel your companions coming and sitting down around you as well. So you know there's a whole cluster of people sitting with you on this rock. And you can feel the energy of the rock, of the earth, of the hillside. And you feel that energy bringing you stability and strength. And you just allow yourself to open to that sense of stability and strength. And you breathe in the energy of the air, and there's this fresh air on this hillside. It's before dawn, it's just before dawn, and there's always a lovely smell in the air when you're out in the country before dawn. You breathe in this smell and this beautiful air, and the energy of the sky and of the air meets the energy of the earth and of the hillside within the center of your being. And then you open your inner eyes and you see that the sun is starting to rise on the horizon. And it's coming up, and the rays of sun are just flooding into you. And the sunlight is filling your being, and you can feel, and you close your eyes now, your inner eyes, and you feel the warmth of that sun on your face and on your body, this beautiful golden light. And you bathe in this light and this energy. And there's nowhere to go, nothing to do, simply the enjoyment of bathing and basking in this light. And then gradually you open your inner, your psychic eyes, and you look around and you see this hillside bathed in this early morning light. Your fellow travelers with you sitting on the hillside, and you decide to take the path down, and you walk down the path through the forest into the sacred grove until you find yourself seated where you started in the sacred grove. You close the eyes of the imagination, and then slowly you become aware of the sacred grove fading in your awareness as you become aware of being seated in your room at home, opening your eyes and seeing yourself, looking at me talking to you on the computer screen. And here we are, each in our separate places, but also together. The paradox. We're alone, but we're together. We're on a journey, but we're not on a journey. And so, thank you for listening. It would be so nice if we could all have little thumbnails and we could talk to each other and all the rest of it. I've tried that using webinar technology, but the problem with broadband width and webinars and so on, it's just too difficult. So bless you. Have a lovely day or evening, and I'll look through. Do type. I'll have a look at everybody's messages afterwards. I'll pop it up on YouTube, and I'll pop it up on my blog. And what I'm doing on my blog is I give a little kind of digest of what I've said, just a few key ideas, and then I'll put the Alan Watts video so you can watch it. It's a beautiful video. Do watch it. There's also some beautiful music that goes with it too, which I'll put up tomorrow on the blog. I think it's kind of a bit overwhelming to put that up as well, but it's very touching and heart-opening as well. And have a lovely evening or lovely day. Lots of love. And if you have an idea for what you want to talk about next week, do type that in. But I've got lots of ideas already as well from last week. And I'll see you again next week. So goodbye.